Hi, Amanda. I'm here with Michael, and
We're talking just to Amanda.
just Amanda, no one else.
Just
But I guess we're going to talk a little bit on what you were talking about in your last video, as far as making goals, but more specifically about making goals that are pertinent to your mental health, not just goals in general. Both.
It could be both. I mean, there's a bunch of different things that you could do for that sort of situation.
Like being nervous about making things and going and making the stuff, which makes you then make the things, but you're also putting yourself out there, which would be good for whatever anxieties that you have about doing the thing.
Like for instance, I'm making hats now. So one of the things that I started to do was I looked up a video online of how to make a hat, and I was just like, okay, let's just do it. Let's have at it. Let's make this hat. And I made it, and I put it together, and I sewed it and everything. I was so proud of it. And then I looked at the last two stitches, and the thing was like this different when sewn together. So it was like wearing a hat that, like the stitching straight up the middle was like this. And I was just like, crap, this looks terrible. But I got better at making a hat, because now I'm working on another hat. It already looks 1,000 times better. And that's just, like, I guess one of the ways that you can realize how to do other things in your life. Life's about experience.
It's like with the writing thing. I have a lot of writing that I don't want to look at ever again because it's terrifying. Middle school fan fiction.
Middle school fan fiction is the best. This
No.
is my first lemon scene, lol.
But there was a lot of self-insertion involved. Like, I would take my friends and put them in Hogwarts. It was pretty bad.
Did I go to Hogwarts?
No, I didn't know you in middle school, really.
You should have put me in Hogwarts.
I can put you in Hogwarts if you need me to. We're
Hogwarts.
talking about, I guess, sort of just putting ourselves out there, too.
Yeah.
Just talking to people, which seems like...
It seems really, really easy until you go to do it.
Yeah.
At least for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are people out there who have no problem doing it at all, though.
And then, like, I know that it shouldn't be a problem, but I can do it, but it's just really hard, and I feel like it shouldn't be hard, which makes it even harder. So,
Yeah,
it's just a chain of just,
That's, self-talk. Where, the things that you say to yourself in your head, cause the things that you do to outwardly to, be affected by it. Like, if you think that you're bad at talking, and you sit there and you tell yourself over and over again in your head, I'm bad at talking to people. People don't want to listen to what I have to say. What I have to say is stupid, stuff like that. If you sit there and you talk to yourself like that all the time, then you're not going to ever put yourself out there, because you're going to psych yourself out.
I think the idea of changing your self-talk also sounds very difficult. Because it's like unconsciously what you're telling yourself, so you're like changing stuff that you don't really think about.
I personally would say it's not about changing what you think unconsciously. I mean, it is to an extent, but it's more about changing the way that you think consciously, because if you can change the way you think consciously, if you can change the way that you think and talk to yourself in your own mind, then you will eventually change the way that your mind reacts to stimuli.
That sounds like I hadn't really put the two and two together at this point, I guess, but unlearning certain things, it's kind of a similar process of telling yourself, no, they're a human being, like, kind of unlearning prejudices in a way, sort of similar to that, like unlearning assumptions about yourself.
I would say, yeah, they're very similar, but I would also say that having judgments in your own mind, yeah, I mean, judgments are bad to an extent, but without judgments we would be dead. If you see a person, regardless of their gender, their sex, their race, regardless of those things, if you see somebody in the middle of the night walking down an alley towards you and it looks like they're holding something, you're not going to go, oh, he's probably holding flowers. You're going to go, that person's going to kill me.
That's kind of like, I actually talked about schemism in one of my videos, like about how almost literally would know nothing without them, even though they're kind of what makes, like, stereotypes are basically, like, the schemas of society, but in, like, a very...
Stereotypes is scripting.
Yeah.
In a very weird way. You can kind of go with changing your scripting is another way that you can work into doing these things that you're anxious about. Social anxiety, if you're nervous about talking to people, just don't be. I know that sounds really, really, like, contrived, and
just stop feeling this way.
it's like you're totally oversimplifying it, Michael. Yeah, I am, but the thing is that it really is that simple. When I started videotaping myself, for instance, last year, not going to say when, but last year I started doing YouTubing and stuff, and the entire time I was videotaping myself, I was nervous. I was like, I'm going to say something stupid and the entire internet's going to see it. And then when the entire internet sees it, they're going to sit there and they're going to make fun of me. You know what? Half the internet's going to sit there and laugh at it because they think it's funny. They're going to be like, oh, he messed up that word. There's no reason to worry about what other people think about you because most of the time they're too involved in themselves. Like with acting, YouTube, all of these other things, television, radio, when you're putting something out there, you're putting it out there to be judged. And there's no problem with that. But you have to just stop worrying about it. I know that is stupidly oversimplified, but that's the solution. You want to know how to go talk to people? Stop worrying about what they're going to judge you for because it doesn't matter.
And the thing is, in order to, I guess, stop worrying is to gain experience. So you have to go out and do things in spite of the anxieties that you have about it, which is like which is the whole point of, I guess, coming full circle. The whole point of going out there and doing things, setting goals, be like, okay, I'm going to go talk to these people and it's going to be terrible or awesome or whatever, but you go and do it despite what you think. This is actually one of those things for me as far as going and doing something because it makes me uncomfortable, because there's no script to this. And all of my other videos have scripts, and I edit the ever-loving crap out of them. I think the only other video that I've ever made without a script, the internet is never going to see because it was a giant pile of crap. That is all that we have. I'll see you on Friday. We've been petting the cat this whole time. That's why we keep looking down.
Say hi, Remy. Bye, Remy.
She's the one that doesn't knock over the tripod usually. Those wheels.
Tripod,
yes.